All right. Hello and welcome back to Now in English. Now, today's game is brought to us by KingMike's Translations. And that logo is kind of nice, but oh my gosh, these are all of his translations. Good gosh, somebody stop this guy. This guy is on fire. You know, I always thought that the Game Boy Color, the Game Boy Pocket had a pretty cool aesthetic. And so now, through the magic of modern day, I can play all my old games in Game Boy Color. And thanks to the magic of these translators then I can play all these games in English too. So he's telling me, oh yeah, I'll be waiting outside. You go explore this dangerous dungeon. And it's like, yeah, sure, I would love to. Oh, okay. And he was nowhere to be seen. Oh, okay, cool. So, no, Palace Suzaku is where I am. I can do this. Ooh, okay. I have certainly recorded it. Yeah. Thanks. Cat sir, what can I do for you? That's the first time I've ever been addressed with such respect. So this is a dungeon crawling game. And, in the romhacking.net description, it says it's sort of a basic game. And so that's true. I mean, at least the 5 minutes I played of it just to... Oh, can't proceed. I wonder why. There must be some sort of magical barrier impeding our progress. And so, it said it was a simple dungeon game. So, well, let's give it a shot. Maybe it won't be so bad. Oh no, this is bad. Okay, so I did play a few minutes of it. And so, I mean, you run into a fight almost immediately. So in my testing, I've run into a few fights. These big rats will mess you up. I swear. Like the bats, you saw it. I attacked one, not a problem. But these big rats, they consistently attack you. And again, in these sort of early levels of dungeon crawling games, even the simplest of enemies can just entirely ruin your day. If you've ever played Dragon Warrior, actually, those initial enemies can really do a lot of damage. Oh my gosh. That's right, things are so dire right now, it even matters what order we do our actions in. You remember back to those early days when it matters? Well, when I say early days, I mean when you first start up an RPG, and it's every battle comes down to the wire like this. You know, and all that work, I risked my life here, 2 EXP. That's terrifying. Okay, so I pressed B button here, and that can't take the particular place. So I don't know what the B button does. And this description actually doesn't make any sense. Now, I'm pretty sure it didn't make any sense in the original, but that's very cryptic. It's what the heck? So you can use various arts, as I've discovered, and if you use Vajra, then you recover HP. So that's the only art I'll ever need. There's a map, but it doesn't seem to work. Now, there are pictures of this game online that show the map working, so I suspect the map will work. You're not sleepy yet. I'm not sleepy yet, but I'm kind of hurt. Okay, well, let's... Ooh, a treasure chest. Oh, okay, good. Well, I was just saying, I sure hope there is a map. Oh, is there ever a map? This can't be the entire thing, huh? This has to be zoomed in on where I am. But, where's the escape? That's an important feature for the map to have. There is a gate to the outside? Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so you can recover... Oh, that's cool. So, if you want to just grind your way through, which I think you kind of have to, is there any sort of... Oh, B button must be some sort of, look feature? Now, where's my stats? Are there no stats? It's just that's it, cat. How much EXP to the next level? Stop being so greedy. Okay, I think we go for the bat first, because then, the big rat is definitely a bigger threat than the bat, but as soon as you get rid of the bat, then their damage output is cut by a fair percentage. It's always kind of weird, though. It's a basic RPG theory. It's do you go for the weak enemies first? Do you go for the big, strong enemy? And frankly, I think the reason why RPGs have persisted for so long and why that gameplay is kept on going is because it actually depends. And so you have to kind of think about it every time. And it's well, sometimes it makes sense to go for the weak enemies because you kill them fast enough. But sometimes you gotta go for the big enemies because they just, like, completely threaten your life, but those small little guys are just never gonna really put up much of a fight. So what are my options here? I can defend. Ooh, all out. Well, you only live once, right? Come on. Come on. Now, can I press B to cancel? Oh, okay, good. You can press B to wimp out and not attack. Which is good, because sometimes you don't want to attack, you want to defend. Also, I don't think we want to delve too deeply into the dungeon, because you keep going back to the gate and you can recover your HP. Man, I really kind of expect myself to level up right there. Okay, we can at least cover our butts a little more. How much MP does that use? Who knows? Oh, I remember this stage. Wow. This is weird because even though it's isometric, it's like I'm kind of starting to find my way around. Like, it's starting to become this familiar place. Now, it doesn't help that everything in the dungeon looks pretty much the same as everything else. So that is rather disappointing. And even these doors, it's like the exact same. And then the layouts, it's not... Okay, I'm lost. I'll admit it, I'm completely lost. Just as long as I don't get anything more ferocious than those big rats, then I think I can manage. Yeah, it's these fun little RPGs that kind of bring everything back to basics. Granted, these are back to basics not out of choice, but out of just... That's where we were in the evolution of games right now. It's interesting though, so I press all-out attack, and it doesn't do it automatically. I mean, it'll do like a play-by-play, but it still waits for you to press A to actually get onto the next thing. I mean, you're not actually controlling anything, you're just kind of all-out attacking, but... It's kind of, oh, alright. Rose by 7, rose by 6, agility, oh wow. Okay, Raijin means thunder, for those of you not well-versed with Raiden. And, okay. Oh, you level up, you get all your HP, so, now I'm feeling incredibly confident. Like I was saying, doing amazing. Have I even damaged him? Oh, okay, good. Okay, so, Dragon Warrior rules yet again, where level ups are immensely powerful. Okay, so I am completely lost. I am now equally lost. Oh, interesting. So on the upper right-hand corner, it gives you a coordinate system. So you can actually see how lost you are, which is to say, incredibly. Actually, I have played a dungeon crawler before, Phantasy Star, the original one. It was a first-person dungeon crawler game, and that's so weird, especially if you played the second and fourth games, where it's like just kind of a regular RPG like normal. I'm pretty sure you haven't played the third game because no sane individual should play the third Phantasy Star game. But Phantasy Stars 2 and 4 are pretty sweet with their just general RPG aesthetic. I always really like their sort of sci-fi aesthetic. Like a lot of RPGs, they do the whole fantasy zone. I mean fantasy mystique or whatever. But then Phantasy Star was always just completely willing to go just super sci-fi. Like you don't revive, you don't have a cleric heal your people. You literally go to a cloning tube and have them recloned, and it's like that's amazing. I loved that as a kid. Plus, the Phantasy Star 2 battle music was just, frankly, some of the best battle music ever in a game. Man, I really wish B kind of opened the menu. Well, that would be redundant, right? And then... Oh, but then it was kind of disappointing. Phantasy Star 3 kind of takes it back down to a fantasy aesthetic. Now, it's kind of... Well, okay, maybe I guess technically it's sci-fi, but it's sci-fi in the same way that Star Ocean is sci-fi, which is to say, yeah, you're on a spaceship in, like, the very beginning, but almost immediately you get immersed into a fantasy world and you just never leave. Although it did have a crazy lineology system, so that was kind of interesting. Oh, other pretty sweet dungeon crawling games, Etrian and Odyssey. Now those are something. It's not quite like this. This I feel like is a little bit more RPG than dungeon crawling. Although you are kind of by your own. Honestly, this game kind of reminds me almost of a first-person Dragon Quest. Ooh, what will I defend? Myself. As I... Oh, there we go. Okay, so you just have to press down enough times, and then you can go back to healing. Because, I mean, it's always fun to hit your enemies with lightning attacks, but it's also nice to not die. And honestly, with these dungeon crawling games, usually it's about conserving resources enough, and then you can actually make it alive. And actually, yeah, the fact that we get healed by level ups kind of adds some interest to like the whole logistics of how this all works. Now, I'm kind of lost, so I think I'll fast forward through this, and I'll meet you back when something interesting happens, or when I die. I suppose those are one and the same. Oh, well, okay, so you can actually access your stats. You just have to press start. I don't know why you would pause the game, so that's why I never thought to do it. My PRT, interesting. Shinobi Blade, back clothes. Cool. What happens if you press select? Not a heck of a lot. No, interesting. So I wasted the one recovery item, the one item that would have helped me explore further. So I guess this is a lesson to you folks. If you pick up that mixture tin, all it does is heal you. So you should probably rely on your healing spell and then just kind of go as far as you can and then use the mixture tin in an emergency. Without drawing a map, my job will be, says an undead voice. I feel like this is where the B button comes in. I can't proceed. That's true. I can't proceed in this game. Ooh, one hit kill. Things have come a long way. And look at my XP, only 2 more to go. Soon I shall become invincible. Oh, okay, so interesting thing that you might not think about in Dungeon Crawler so much. What should the back button do? So I believe in Etrian Odyssey you press back and you actually turn around, like zoop zoop, zoop zoop. But in this game, you strafe. So you press forward, you go forward, you press back, you go back. And that kind of makes sense, I guess. I mean, both schools of thought I feel like have their merits. So I'm a little torn. Should I... Okay, so I do actually have to walk around and explore these rooms. My first instinct is to walk into a room, look around and see if it's empty. And if it's empty, then nah, I just turn tail and get out of there. But no, you gotta risk something to get at treasure. So I'm feeling kind of lost. Let's check the map. Thanks, map. Level up. Oh boy. HP rose 8, that's what I like to see. MP rose 6, that's like 3 more heals. Strength rose 2, don't need it. Protection rose 1, now I'm invincible. Ooh, Shadowbind. So I guess it is really like Dragon Warrior in that basically every time you level up you get a pretty sweet skill. Now, Dragon Warrior wasn't 100% like that, but I mean, at like level 4 you learn heal, and then it's like, okay, you basically are invincible at that point. Well, so long as you're smart about things. Actually, that kind of reminds me of something the creator of Dragon Warrior said in an interview. I believe it was Yuji Naka. And so he said, like, when he wanted to make Dragon Warrior, he wanted to capture this essence of gambling. Like, he himself liked gambling, which is an interesting thing to mention in an interview. And he wanted to recapture that spirit in a video game, but not like a gambling game, in like a game that kind of really captures the essence of gambling. And if you think about it, like Dragon Warrior is fundamentally about like going deeper and deeper into dungeons, not knowing necessarily where the end is, and just kind of risking it all to make your character that much stronger. And I mean, yeah, you could do it the safe way and just always like go in one, fight a battle, and then go back to town. Oh no, new enemies. 7 damage. Ooh, okay. Well, so I've been saving this. Raijin, baby. Oh, 7 damage. That's okay. Flee, but the escape is cut off. But these, oh no, 7. It's all I can do to just heal myself. Things got very interesting very quickly. Okay. Shadow Mind. Come on. Cat lies wounded. Game over. So I was just talking about, yeah, Dragon Quest. It's all about how deep can you go into the dungeon before dying. And it's like, and also too, when you die, you lose all your stuff. So death has consequence. And so, well, you're wondering how far did I make it? Here. Pretty much here. Okay, continue. This... I didn't even record my, 2 level ups, because I got too far in. Man, when you die like this, it really just kinda kills all momentum. Well, onward to the title screen. Well, that was Shiro no Yaka Shirako. Basically, it's an old-timey dungeon crawler game, but for your Game Boy. And so I can imagine as a kid just kind of walking around, playing this game, and just trying to get further and further into that dungeon. And it's cool, because, like, you do always have the safe zone, so you never feel boxed in. I feel like that's kind of one thing that I don't like about these old-timey RPGs, is sometimes, if it's not too clear how to recover your hit points, or like it's too expensive to recover your hit points, you feel kind of trapped. Because in Dragon Quest, like, the inn costs like 10, but you get like fairly little very, very early on. And so you can actually get like really low on money. And especially Etrian Odyssey, like, those inns are not cheap, and Etrian Odyssey is not especially generous with the gold drops. But then you fight, and you get stronger, and you kind of figure out the systems, until eventually you get strong enough that, like, money doesn't really matter, you can just heal yourself as much as you want. And so then that's when things kind of get kind of fun, maybe, because then you can just kind of turn off your mind and grind. But this sort of game, where, like, you have that safe zone in the beginning, but you have to be careful, because, like, you have to actually be able to navigate back to it. And I think this game, the fact that this game gives you a map is sort of a sick, cruel joke. You can't even scroll on the map, so you can't even see the entire dungeon at once. So, I mean, it gives you this map, but the map is essentially useless. I mean, you can make your own, but it's like, that's just so annoying. Even in Etrian Odyssey, whose whole gimmick is that you kind of make the map as you go, like, making the map just becomes this sort of idle task to amuse yourself, but it's not necessarily engaging, and not every scene kind of really needs it either, so it's just kind of ultimately pointless. Honestly, I think it's kind of neat that you can, but I really much prefer the ones that kind of auto-map as you go. Those ones are way more fun. So this was, this game, and honestly, like, it scratches that itch. Like, you level up, like, it's a real struggle to fight and win enough battles to level up, but when you level up, you just get so much more powerful. It's sort of D&D style level ups, where, yeah, when you level up, you just, like, increase essentially an order of magnitude in strength. That's an exaggeration, but you do get about maybe twice as strong as you were before. And that is just so exciting. That makes every level up have meaning. But then you saw as you fight those snakes, and it's like, oh my god, I got completely wiped. And it's just kind of stuff like that that's like lurking in the dungeon. Honestly, like, on one hand, running into those snakes, it makes me right now not want to play anymore. But it gives this game sort of an edge. It's like, I was a little bit afraid for a second there. It's like, oh man, this would be so easy. I don't even have to pay attention as I fight through it. But then, knowing that things like those snakes are in there, it's like, okay, always got to be cautious. So if I ever do play this again, I'll have to be on my toes. But after death, lost all motivation. So on that note, this cat's got a scat.